Here we go. All right, we got. Yesterday we had a lot of problems. We're online. Yeah, we're online. We're good. Okay. All right, man. So welcome everybody on the live and the replay. I'm gonna play. Give some people time to come in.
That picture's terrible, but you know what? It's okay.
What's that?
I said my picture's not very good, but my camera on my laptop is one of my lads dropped it, so I bought a webcam, and I don't know how to connect it on here.
It's easy. Just plug it in. Plug it into the.
Yeah.
Okay, plug it in. I'll tell you what to do. So plug it in, and now if you look under the screen, there's all those icons: the microphone, the video.
Yeah.
You see the little settings? You see the settings?
Oh yeah, those are settings.
So click settings, and then there you go. Okay. Oh, that's the same one. Okay, so click the settings. It's the little screw-looking thing.
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay, so click that, and when you click that, you want to go to video input. Click the drop down, and you should have an option for your webcam.
See, it's not letting me scroll up and down on it. Let's just see.
No, you just click it, and then the top one should say video input. Do you see that?
No, it won't let me scroll down to see the top.
Oh.
It's probably my let's see.
What do you see when you do it? What do you see?
Oh God, Todd.
You see video input, video resolution.
No, it won't let me scroll. You know where you get a little icon to scroll up and down. Let's see if I can.
No. Don't worry about it. You're fine.
Yeah, we'll just have to go with what we've got.
Yeah.
Okay. There you have it.
We got sound. Yeah, all right. We'll be right back. Just give us yeah, you now I think your webcam is on. I don't know. I can see your camera. This is really cool. All right, we'll be right back. Just give us about a minute and 19 seconds. All right. Hey, Scarlett Ireland, how you doing? You've been in my thoughts. I'm gonna reach out to you. All right, be right back. What's happening, everybody? Hey, Shaz. We can see you, Shaz. Everything's cool. So there's quite a few things on the table here. First of all, I want to thank you for stepping into the Soulogy group with Rebecca Williams and Eon Boldy, but you've been doing a lot of the work and administrating that monster. I did it by myself for years.
Yeah,
I did it by myself for years, and then we had a team of admins and at one point, and Rebecca just, there was a bunch of junior high, Bush League bubblegum BS going on, and everybody kind of fell away, and Rebecca was the only one left. And she, there's something amazing about people stepping up with no agenda, where they just want to do something. So she really set the tone. Then you came in, Eon. So I want to thank you for that. And it's good to see you. Dr. Joe says I need to ask you about the Liverpool tantric method. I guess you and Dr. Joe have been practicing together.
Tell him he doesn't want to know.
He doesn't want to know. I saw that he lost 20 pounds. Now I know why he lost the 20 pounds.
Yeah, that's his ego.
He lost his ego. Now that would have been about 120 pounds. I'm kidding. He's a good man. He's a very good man. I think he's coming on tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Okay, brilliant.
I think he is. Don't ask me. I can only focus on a little bit at a time. So what the hell is going on the front line of the apocalypse in Liverpool, England, and for that matter, anywhere else in the world?
Well, for me, my world right now is very detached from everything and everyone, to be honest with you, Todd.
Yeah.
I'm just, do you know what? I'll come on today and I thought to myself, you just go on and whatever it presents, I'll come out. But, you know, I'm here to be open and to be honest. But you see, there's been a lot going on since I was on the last show. And, you know, I'm here to be transparent as I can be. But a lot's happened for me since the 20s. Well, I didn't even know there was a lockdown, to be honest with you.
No, you've been out on Mars or something.
I've been some places, let me tell you. I relapsed. Without going into the story of this relapse, you know, I've been in recovery. Something's just come up on me thing there. I've been in recovery since 2012, you know, and I've had a couple of ongoing issues with my health and stuff, wherein I started taking medication that I really shouldn't have been taking. Valid physical reasons, but it led to a relapse.
Yeah.
And I felt quite on my own a lot of the time in regards to what was going on, you know, like what I experienced. I mean, there's a lot of people on a 12-step program who, you know, had a spiritual awakening and we're a spiritual, you know, path, or on a spiritual path. But in terms of what I was experiencing, I struggled with it, and I'm very experiential, Todd. I'm really organic and experiential in terms of what I listen to and what gets downloaded and all the rest of it. And it's been a battle in and of itself. But to go into this relapse I wasn't in a good place. So I didn't even know there was a lockdown in March because I was in a blackout. I was in a complete blackout. But I want to talk a little bit about when I went into detox and what I witnessed in there. Oh my God. I ended up going head to head with the manager because it's a medical model. And here I am in this detox, and I was so heightened. Within this environment. And I was really trying to maintain staying in my body a lot of the time. And it was pretty heavy going, this detox. And the medication they wanted to prescribe me for this detox, my body wouldn't allow it. My blood pressure kept really dropping, and my history showed at 13 years of age doing a heroin detox. It's the very same medication I used to black out on. So it didn't agree with me, but I absolutely knew I wasn't meant to take this medication. Anyway, there was an alternative. And there I am going head to head with the manager in terms of the medical model. And he's sitting in this room saying to me, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm a professional medical. I said, well, I'm going to beg to differ with you. I said, because I know my body and I know what works and what doesn't work. I said, but while I was in there, and he's looking at me, and I'm telling him how we should be administering the medication and all that. But while I was in there, I really experienced and watching the effects of medication on alcoholics and addicts. Yeah, I was so wide open, and I stepped into this girl's. I didn't realize it at the time. She's telling me that this medication she was on, I mean, a lot of them were just out the body. They were just out the body. It wasn't alleviating the withdrawal symptoms. So this girl, I approached her, and she's telling me how she was feeling, and then it just came in really clear. I'd stepped into it and started experiencing what she was experiencing, so I had to step out of it. And it just brought me to the many layers of us, you know, the mental, physical, emotional, and the etheric, and how easily we pick up the symptoms, the information, or whatever it is within each energy. And I was all over the place with it, Todd. I swear to God, I was totally out of my body. And I want to just share a little bit while I was in the bath. There's so many. a lot of downloads in there, an awful lot of downloads in this detox. And I'm in the bath this night and I'm lucid as anything. This is after the day seeing the psychologist and just the two psychologists, one psychiatrist and a psychologist. And this English guy, doctor, he's saying to me, your history's shown you've got this mental health label. We think you've had a misdiagnosis. And I'm just talking because I'm in mania, because I'm picking everything up and I'm telling him about spirituality and the frequencies I was in and what I was in. And he's looking at me, but there was this Asian psychologist and she saw right into me and she's just looking very quietly at me and smiled because they wanted to prescribe all kinds of medication because I was bouncing off the walls. I was just, and this Asian psychologist spoke to me and she says, I hear you. And if you don't want to be put on any, she was laughing at me because I was telling him where to go with his medical diagnosis or psychiatric diagnosis. So I just kept giving him it back. But it just brought me back to, you need to be careful here, Shaz, because I've been in institution after institution right throughout my life from being 12 years of age, you know, from secure units, care system, to prison, to homelessness, to hostel systems. And I had to really discern for myself and really be quiet within what I was experiencing. It was really heavy going. But I'm lying in the bath as lucid as I am now. And I'm just looking at the wall and everything around me was just like so clear. And the next thing, this skull appeared on the wall ahead of me. And the jaw of it opened and it came right down into the heart here. This skull just appeared on the wall and the jaw, and I was on no medication. I was as lucid as they come, and the jaw came right down. It came right down and it was biting into the heart. So then as I looked to the right, and I'm going to share it as I seen it, as I looked to the right, what appeared on the wall was this beautiful illustration of a divine masculine, feminine and child, which it didn't come in language. It was just the whole of the essence of who we are. And this skull appeared and was showing me that how we've lived from here, from the mind, being a prisoner of the mind. And if we don't learn to come into the heart, it's just going to eat your heart away. It just eats our heart away. But I had loads of downloads. I had to ring Michelle Muller at one point because I said, they already think I'm nuts in here because I'm walking around the garden area with no shoes on, just trying to stay in my body. And the stuff that was coming through, it was, I was just in it. I was just in the now of it, the moment of it. And I witnessed the extremities of the medical model and what it does to people. And it was pretty heavy going, to be fair. So I came out from detox and then I drank again. And I want to talk a little bit about the physical aspect of alcoholism and addiction, because as much as I'm on a spiritual path, you know, I didn't even see this thing coming. There was no thought process behind it. But, you know, the physical allergy I have and how we break down on a physiological level it's not like other people. I'm not saying we're special and different. We're just highly sensitive. And I believe we're made that way to not put anything mood or mind altering in us, because of the sensitivity of us, in order for us to wake up. But once I had that drink, that was it. I was in blackout, and I can't even remember. I didn't even know there was a lockdown. That was the 24th of March, my last drink, without going into the madness of it. But I managed to, you know, got good people in my life who I'm close to, who picked me up. And from there on in, you know, I went and stayed with a friend for a bit, and you've got all this madness going on with this lockdown stuff. And, you know, I'm sure people don't want to hear about all that and their opinion of that. And I've got my own belief around it. But I've just had a lot of downloads. I tend to experience stuff before it comes in. What I'm listening to right now, on the 22nd of July, I've done a lot of work on myself, a lot of clearing, but the less I don't know anything, Tom, because for me to try and make sense of a lot of it, it gets lost in translation for me, you know, the narrative to it. And so I just listen to certain bits and pieces that I resonate with. And so the 22nd of July, I'm sitting on my couch and I'm on Facebook, and on my news feeds, this image came up without going into the image, because it was quite graphic in terms of a child being beat. Now, I don't get stuff like that on my news feeds. And I'd already became really aware, and I'm all right to sit here and say it, because I used to have a lot of fear around what people would think. You know, I am a clearer, collective, like a lot of us, and I've started to discern and separate when it's mine, when it's collective,
Right.
when the reason the energies are coming in, the frequencies that I see and hear. And now I'm just learning the intensity of the frequency of the human resonance, which is different again. So there's like 4 different things going on: personal, collective, the human resonance, and the light coming in, without going into all of it. But here I am on the 22nd of July, and I come across this, and it put me into it. My body response to it was showing me that it was my own trauma, you know, from a 2-year-old child. But I was able to hold myself in it, and I decided to just put a meditation on. But I sobbed for this child who was at 2 years of age being abducted. But this thing I seen on Facebook generated the body response, because I don't get it in my mind. Trauma used to play out like a tape. And I've done a lot of work, and as much as I feel and think I've worked through a lot of stuff, again, I'm showing something else that needs to be cleared. So here I am, and I'm in this trauma, and I could feel it in a different part of my body that needed clearing. So I decided to do this meditation. And while I'm in this meditation, this purple ray came in. This purple ray came in and presented, and what was being downloaded to me was I'm reflecting what needed to be cleared within the collective, in terms of where it was in me, in terms of the root and the sacral, you know, the sacral and the root. The root was being the economy at the minute, and the collective in a state of upheaval and fear. So those of us who were awake and here to help ground that and clear it. And I was feeling, honest to God. So then it went on to the sacral, and where the trauma and where we give our power away as collective people, and where we within that from our own ego, you know, what we've created for ourselves through all of it. So here I am being held by this purple ray, and I sobbed, and was told it was the violet ray, which is all to do with balance of justice and mercy, which was inclusive of myself and you know, the shadow aspect of the collective, if you like. So here I am clearing this, and I'm sobbing. And for me, I couldn't cry for a long time because through conditioning and stuff. And I felt so held, and the love I felt was unknown anything I've ever felt. It was just this love with nothing attached to it for myself, through this energy, this light ray coming in. And the next thing, I'm inside my body. Now, whenever I've got visual, and I don't ever preempt, it just comes in. I never preempt or anything like that. I just get what comes in. And the next thing, I'm in my body, and I could see the matter, and it was showing me like the spaces of where blocked energy and emotional blockages of where they are in the body and why they need to be cleared. And it was bizarre. It was like grey matter. I could see my intestines and the reasons why we need to clear it. And in order, as we know, we are being upgraded and we are changing. But I also got another download in going back a while, in terms of, and I don't know much, Todd. I just share what comes in. And what I kept getting the number 666 all the time. I've always had number sequences. My mate calls me Sheldon off the Big Bang, because I see number sequences everywhere, and I'm able to, like, you know, the specific dates that have all been on like 1 days in 11 years. It's an 11-year or a 22-year, which are really significant for me. So here I kept getting this 666. And then the revelations have been guided to read the revelations, which I still haven't done, through dreams and stuff. I've read a couple of chapters, and it says in the revelations that it's all prophecy, isn't it? The revelations it's meant to be looked back on, not as something we look to in the future and go, well, that's going to happen. Events and experiences that have happened, we're able to look back on, and it's telling us that in revelations, if you can read it and understand it, which I'm only just learning to do. So this 666 kept coming to me, and then I'm more of the understanding that Proton 12 carbon 12 is 6 protons, 6 neurons, and 6 electrons, which is 666, which is changing. It's changing to 166 or 661. And I had this dream last week, and it was very detailed. And when I woke up, I thought you should write that down, but I fell back asleep. And when I woke up, all I could remember was this car with a number plate saying 666 UHC, which was unknown hidden codes. But I know a lot of us who are doing the work, who are clearing, absolutely understand that we are changing, you know, on a molecular cellular level. As the planet is, she's changing the evolution of it. So I don't know. All I know is how to join dots when I get stuff coming in. But I've been getting a lot of gold coming in, a lot of gold. And I organically started to do the light language. And if I was an artist and I could see what was being activated over the last few days, I'd love to be able to put it on some kind of art illustration, because as I'm doing this light language, which I'm quite private with, because I'm quite, but when I do it, and the stuff, these, because I generally know angelics. I mean, Metatron, I know the angelics, but these light beings that are being shown up, galactics, they were very quiet with me. And as I'm doing this, the patterns I'm getting coming through and the light to it, it's just been like, so my crown and heart have got massive activations, the back of the heart and the higher heart, over the last few days, and I have sobbed. I have, and for me, that you know, it's a real good clearing of, and a lot around the oppression of minorities and the feminine. So I've had an awful lot going on in the last couple of weeks in terms of what I'm experiencing, what I'm going through. But I'm just here to show off and
Yeah, you're doing great. Hang on, let the echo go away. Oh, here we go. So yeah, let me take all this in. I've been taking it in. First of all, you can see by everybody's comments how important it is to reveal these things, and you know, the experience versus the learned. You know, the traditional learning methods that we've come out of, even if they applied and they did, prior to this new atmosphere that we find ourselves in, it's not anything like the experience that we have in and of ourselves. So, you know, I can tell you that I haven't gone through the levels of institutionalization and incarceration that you have. I have been incarcerated for 34 days and a few other times for overnight and 1 or 2 days when I was younger and raising a little bit more hell. But I will say this: 34 days in the Harris County Jail. I was in a high risk unit with 24 other men, and it was pretty intense. But my point is, there was a tremendous amount of revelation, epiphanies, apparitions. There's a lot to be said to be in an environment where there is energetic extremes in terms of a wide expanse of extremes in terms of contrast. So obviously, if you're incarcerated or you're in an institution, there's going to be a lot of distorted energy. A lot of I want to say like dispossessed energy, even though I don't think we get possessed, but I mean, there's something there that we don't quite get it. But then there's also the other end of the spectrum available, because there's that let's just say that darker extreme. Then you have this opportunity, and I've seen it. So the fact that I want to bring that up, number one. Number two, personally, I think we damn ourselves enough. I think we over-label, over-define, and obviously overcomplicate things. I don't think there's a damn thing wrong with addict, addiction. And what I mean by that is I know many, many people who have taken this path, and I'm one of them, who have had their moments in the sun, so to speak, or in the gutter, who have
Yeah.
been users. There is nothing lesser or more than
No.
the path of somebody who's had, let's say, an alcohol frequency in their life at one time, an addictive drug at one time. And what I'm trying to get at, I know people who have actually woken up in the midst of addiction, and I proved it because I proved that you can go crazy and lose your fucking mind and
Yeah.
still find the light at the same time. And I believe it's because you're living, you're on a path of extreme contrast. You know, if you're getting up every day and you're going to work 9 to 5, and I'm not making fun of anybody or making light of anybody, I'm just trying to make a point. But let's say that there's a central line, okay? And that central line is above and below, right? Below and above. If you're just, you know, kind of like the, what is it, the EKG machine, you know?
Yeah.
If the EKG machine is bouncing up 5 degrees and below 5 degrees, that's going to be the wealth of your experience. But if you're balling out and you're going 99 degrees up down, you've got the opportunity to go 99 degrees up.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is we've damned ourselves enough.
Yeah.
There's not, I'm almost done. There's not anything to be ashamed of. There's as much or more opportunity on a path that we might think is a degenerative path or a less than moral path or less than ethical path. I mean, there's as much darkness, so to speak, in a pure piousness as there is in a pure putridness. So I guess, you know, you just kind of set me off a little bit because I feel for you. I can feel the people. I've said this many times. I don't do a lot of things, but I can read the field, at least of this program and of the people. And the heart is expanding through your words and through your honesty. And that's what matters. I just watched this. I just want to tell you one last thing. I just watched the first part of Robert. Everyone knows I love Robert Sepper.
Me too.
I just watched the first part of Anatomy of the Soul.
Me too.
It's his last one. And what's that guy's name? Saga Guru.
Yeah.
There's a clip of him in there. I never heard this before. And he was talking about how there's 5 bodies.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how there was the physical, the mental, and I forget the third one. But it was what we might consider non-physical. Okay.
Energy, he said.
Energy body. So all 3 of those, he says, are physical.
Physical, yeah.
And then he talked about the light body even having a link to the physical. And he talked about electrons in the atomic part of it. And then I guess the 5th one was something more like, said Guru. So anyway, my point is that one of the things that he said, which I want to go back and listen to this because I didn't get to watch it all, was that the soul, spirit, soul, whatever, enters these incarnations because of karma.
Karma, yeah.
But the way he explained it, it wasn't a bad thing to me, right? Because what he was saying was basically that if you have a situation where you totally dissolve all karma, then you're no longer incarnated.
Yeah.
Now, I know that we've all been through a lot. You've been through a lot in the last 6 months, but you've also gained a lot. You've expanded a lot. And I think there's a point coming very soon when we're going to start looking at our life experiences, no matter how, you know, deplorable, you know, at one time from our perspective, you know, how deviant, you know, whatever the case is, we're going to start looking at it and really valuing that. This is our contribution to the universe.
Yeah.
Being fully human. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm really tired of, and you're not doing it today. You're actually praising it. But I'm like, I'm tired of people beating themselves up. We don't need to beat ourselves up. We don't need to beat each other up.
No.
Fuck that. You know, I'm tired of this. This is our coming out party. And our lives are full of gold. And what you just said in the first 20 minutes of this show is pure gold.
And can I just comment on that? Because, you know, I think for me, I'll speak for me, you know, when you've been to them extremities, right? And when I first come into recovery, I didn't know who the fuck I was, Todd, to be honest with you. I felt like a child because I'd anaesthetised myself at 33 years. But prior to me drinking at 7 years of age, with a progression onto heroin by the time I'm 12, I had this deep-rooted sense of shame and low self-worth prior to that. I was disconnected from my essence, and I was a very intuitive, sensitive child, and I had a lot of childhood experiences. But within the environment now, you know, there's a great saying, everyone's guilty, but no one's to blame, because as we know, everything's passed down generally. It's ancestral stuff, or it's whatever, it's societal. We can add infinitum to it all day long, but all I know for me was, you know, I've been through, even in my childhood, I'd had that many illnesses, being in a wheelchair, being in hospital from the age of 2, being abused left, right, and centre. It was also matter of fact to me because of the conditioning of, I was terrified anyone would think I needed them, because it was the conditioning of how on my belief system. But, you know, because of them extremities and because of what I've been through, I don't want to beat anyone up. And I'm not saying I don't, as a human, you know, I can come across someone and I can initially, you know, have a feeling about the person. And I don't always agree that if you're judging someone, I don't mean judging it as in like condemning. I'm talking on an intuition level here.
Yeah.
What I can pick up in someone doesn't necessarily mean it's a projection of myself. I don't agree with that 1000%. If there's something in someone I see that I don't like and I'm judging, then it's probably in myself that I need to look at. I get that. So I wouldn't want to, you know, I've just stepped into, I became a qualified psychodynamic counsellor because as much as we're all on this spiritual path, yeah, I still believe there's a lot of people who aren't aware yet. I don't even like using the word woke up, for fuck's sake, who aren't aware yet, who still carry a lot of trauma, who still carry a lot of blocked energy. And I've worked with shadow work, energy fucking clearing, psychodynamic model, which goes into your unconscious, and I'm stepping out on my own. I mean, I've had to face a lot of fears, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of low self-worth, and I've had to do a lot of work on myself. And my higher self and my guides have keep giving me stuff, and I'm not even saying coming out of my comfort zone, just expanding it to put myself out there, you know, to give, because I've given in the last 7 years of, you know, behind the scenes, working in services voluntarily, doing frontline stuff, and it's time for me now, because there's that conflict I had around it. And so for me, I've got this passion to guide people, if you like, and it's got to be on a donation basis for me to earn, and I'm really okay with that, because I've given, and if there's no balance there, I'll stay stuck there. So in terms of anyone who, I don't judge myself for my past. I didn't choose. And that's why I wanted to talk about how, and this is experience, and people can have an opinion, and unless you've experienced it, you won't really deeply understand. But Joseph will know what I'm talking about. If I put a substance or a drink in me, physiologically, it triggers off a compulsion in me where I can't stop. And that's the difference. So I don't blame me for me addiction. I loved to drink and party back in the day. I loved anything that took me out of me, you know, because it gave me that connection, that sense of connection, you know, to come out of me. I needed to be in the world to feel part of, because I was so fucking detached from everything. And, you know, I don't beat myself up. There's things that I had to work through, a lot of guilt and shame around the harms. You know, I've got a lot going on in terms of me lads, me 2 lads, 2 very sensitive kids, you know, but I'm not going to put it out there on their social media. But I've had to do a lot of work, a lot of growing, a lot of detaching from a place of love. And I mean that. I honour people for who they are. Now, I don't always like certain things people do, but I always bring it back to the love and seeing beyond the bullshit. seeing beyond the bullshit. Everyone's got a role here, and you know, I'm not God, but you can't have one without the other. And if we have chose to come in with the, you know, to do this evolution process, even the, you know, we've all got the dark and the light, and the collective darkness, and if you want to go to the deep state and the elite, they've all come in to play a fucking role. They've all come in. What a soul contract to fulfill, if that is the case. So I try and remain open-minded. I don't like everything, you know, but who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? I'm here, and the now is so prevalent for me. I've never been in the now, so and I absolutely love it. I can just sit and listen to my body because it's so loud at the minute, and nurture myself through what I need in order to get through while we're going through this this great change of what's happening, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful.
And I can relate to there's a certain thing that if I ingest, I am absolutely not even me.
Yeah, it
There's something, there's a drug, put it that way, that if I take it, you know, I go into a loop.
Yeah.
That I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Period. And so, you know, and I think it's important too, because, and not just for me, but for everybody, you know, there's so much stigmatism that we've overcome. And there's no difference between being a rich, snotty bastard and a homeless 50-year-old man living on the streets, damning himself because he's you know, he's lit, and at the same time he's running with the devil, you know. I mean,
it's the same energy, isn't it?
That's what I mean. Yes, the judgment of others is not going to go away until we stop judging ourselves.
Absolutely.
So shift or get off the pot. And that goes for me. That goes for everybody. This is the truth. And the truth is we came here to be divine human beings, to become aware of our divinity, and then to utilize it to take this universe to a place it's never been before. This is how the cycles work. This is where I get a little confused with the past and the present and the future. And, you know, the universe took a breath and everything happens at the same time. Well, yeah, I'm sure in some complex way, way beyond human comprehension, that's probably true. But this is the present. Yeah. And in the present, we have certain tools in our tool belt. And one, first and foremost, to me, is transformation.
Yeah.
The universal creation seed, whatever you want to call it, is all about spontaneity, creativity, newness, rebirth, renewal, transformation. You cannot divorce yourself from anything in this universe, not the Anunnaki and not the Pleiadians, you know, not the dirt and not the gold. But most of all, you can't divorce yourself from any part of you. Okay. This is why I was listening to that thing earlier, why I mentioned it, what I was listening to earlier, because of what he said about the karma thing. And I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, I'm looking at karma in a different way. I'm looking at it, it's kind of like the ego, right? When I first came out 9 years ago, I beat the hell out of the ego. I am not a human being. I am a soul. My ego, I got you. You know, it's karma's the same thing. How many times have I read, oh, I'm through with my karmic debts? And I understand what they're saying, but what I got today, and so there's no coincidence, now I'm listening to you and I'm having all these things come back as well. I can see now that I can't divorce myself from anything I've ever done.
Why would you want to? Then we can change.
Well, I think we were conditioned to want to. We were conditioned to want to get to heaven, which means this place wasn't good enough. We were conditioned to look a certain way because all the magazines have big bodybuilders for dudes and these popsicle sticks for women. I mean, so the whole thing if I look at it, obviously the whole narrative, all the narratives have been based on we're not good enough
A lie.
and we need to be saved. We need to be healed. F all that. Okay. This is what I'm trying to get to. What I'm trying to get to is it in a bigger way today than a month ago or 2 or 3 months ago. It's us. It's that whole thing about it's never them, it's always me. Yes, but take it to the higher level now.
Yeah.
Really think about what you're saying and what you're doing in regard to other people, because
That's
there
right.
is something in you that's hurt or that wants to be included in your expansion and your victorious ascension, right? And that includes what the humans might say is the times we spent in the gutter, or when I acted like an asshole, or when I let myself be abused, or when I self-mutilated or self-tortured myself energetically. Those times are gold too. It's all gold.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's interesting that because, you know, I was quite, when I started doing the work on myself and looking at myself, it's always me. And I can do that very well. I can go into looking at my behaviors, my projections, my defects, if you like. I don't like that work all day long. And the harder bit for me was stepping into the true self, the essence of self, because this mind of mine, I compared, I self-doubted, I self-judged, and it's changing that. And even if I get fear going on, I mean, I was nervous coming on here today because it's part of the mind that I still am running that dialogue, if you like, but it's beautiful and more, and none of it, I don't dismiss any of it, because it's all room for expansion and growth within that moment. You do it anyway. And I'm stepping into someone I'm really starting to honor. And I mean that. I don't always get everything right, but the biggest thing for me is to not beat myself up for it, to not compare, to reparent and nurture myself. You know, the essence of the divinity within myself, and you know, I laugh at myself a lot. And humor for me was a massive defense, because I learned as a child, if I can make you laugh by acting up or showing off or someone daring me to do something to get a laugh, I'd do that. I was seeking approval, I was seeking connection, I was seeking whatever. So humor became a massive defense for me, to keep people out, to make you laugh or whatever. And that's got its uses today. It's got its uses. I don't use it as a defense today, but I don't take myself too seriously either, because, you know, each and every one of us are just learning to understand the level of who we are, and the things that are in the way of us getting there is just another way of learning and accepting, gently accepting and changing it in as we go along. Flow, we flower.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's so true.
See, this to me is where we're headed. And I think soulogy is a part of it. And there's soulogy energies all over the world with all different names. And be a person, it can be a group, whatever. But this is what I see happening now. This is why I'm excited about the David Icke thing, because not to just ignore and put behind us the collective aspects that have been revealed or that are being revealed, you know, the trafficking and the ritual, satanic ritual, and anything and everything. But what should be in the headlines and in the mainstream and will be, can and will be, is what you're talking about. It's about you. It's about me. It's about work, but it's about expressing this. Somebody just said you're healing. You're a healer, Shaz, because just when you talk, this is true. This is why this show's powerful, because people come on here and it's not a one-dimensional singular thing. And the central part of it is the soul. I am soul. I am so much more than I thought I was. Not about, hey, I want you to think this about me.
Yeah.
I want to,
which is just a fear.
I want to cultivate a frequency of and be a part of it, which I think we're all doing, of what about me? How do I feel about me? Let's cut through the bullshit. Let's cut the dog and pony show. Let's de-emphasize what woke us up. Not that it's not part of it, not that it's not important, but I'm not who I was in a past life here today. I'm not the galactic aspects that have come to visit me, that have entered my body. I'm not the dragon energy. I'm all of these things. But most important, I am Todd and you are Shaz. And you know what? Like somebody just said a minute ago, one of the guys said, I beat myself up. Well, we did. Okay. And as long as we carry that crap, we're going to continue to project, and we're going to continue to
recycle it.
That's right. We're going to continue to externalize it. And let me just say something, one more thing about the karma thing. I look at karma different as of today. I don't want to disincarnate. I want to continue to have incarnations after incarnations after incarnations. I want to live as fully and as expansively as I can. And I will continue to create karma, but it doesn't have to be shitty karma.
Not the old karma.
It can be
the new.
Yes, it can be. Yeah, it can be good deeds. It can be good thoughts, and it can be good actions, and philanthropy, and collaboration, and co-creation, and materialization, and manifestation in a positive sense. Okay, that's good karma, and that will continue to allow me to perpetually incarnate over and over again. You know.
Yeah. Do you know, it's interesting because, well, I don't want to really go on about, but these galactics that came through, right? What was being the only way I can put it into language expressed to me is because I've had goes at source, even though it's within me, and I've asked questions of what star fucking system am I from? Am I this? Am I that? And they're very quietly composed, relating back to me, is your separation again. Yeah. We're all of it. We are all of it. And it's, you know, before I even come into recovery, Todd, I was talking about this with Jeanette Smith. I can't always say her name, was Wilowski, last night. And before I'd done any work on myself and I'd started to meditate, and I was already getting downloads, but in my drinking, when I was having seizures, I seen a lot. I had a gold orb floating towards me with my face on. And I've linked it. It was an 11 year, and the year my daughter was born, who were lost to adoption. It was a massive year, and this is before I woke up. But this gold orb was floating towards me, and this guy said to me, within that seizure, there'll have been stuff that's been activated within you, whether you were in that. You said it before, that, you know, that I believe when we're in them extremities, there's both polarities of the dark and the light that can get in when we're that open in them extreme polarities of that. So, you know, I don't know what a lot of it means, but I know how I feel. I know how I feel, and how I'm expanding.
Yeah.
Being in there now and going with who I am, and not hiding, or if I find myself comparing, to just bring it right back to zero, to place of neutrality. You are who you are, and if you love yourself, Sha, then go and love, and that's as simple as I can keep it. It's just beautiful.
Well, I think it's time. You know, it's time. You know, there's and obviously we've done a great job. I don't care what anybody says. We have done a fantastic job. We have the respect and the reverence of the universe. I don't care what anybody says, you know, because I know this. It's innate. We're connected in a way, and not only are we connected in a way to the universal, but we have a team down here of 8 billion people that are getting it done. And you know, I guess where I'm going with this is, there's enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Who is in your space? What are you doing with your day? Maximize the opportunity. Yeah. The grass is not greener on the other fucking side. Okay? It's not. It's the same everywhere you go. Yeah. It's the same God, goddess, substance everywhere you go. And if you have a problem, if there's something that makes you uncomfortable, go to work. I don't care who it is. There are no exceptions. You know, there are no exceptions to the rule. Okay? There's none. So whoever is the biggest antagonist in your life for your entire life or in this moment, the past week or the past year or whatever, pull them up front and center.
Yeah.
Utilize the most powerful thing we have, which can be defined as our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Our thoughts. This is quantum. What is quantum? Quantum is you see something, you receive it, and you transmit it. What are you transmitting? Oh, Shaz is such and such. Well, guess what? That just went out there. And don't doubt the fact, by the way, that you can pull that right back and say, let me restate this. Boom. Shaz is me. Yeah. But I mean, this is it. This is it. This is why we came here. So enough of this, all this debating and conflict and bullshit. Yeah. We don't have to do that. We are a team within a team, and there's many other ones out there, I'm sure, that can say, you know what? We can hold space right here.
Yeah.
We understand reality. We understand who we are, and what we're a part of. Now we're consciously practicing that. And that is not even like a tsunami. That's not even like a nuclear bomb. That's like a universe being born.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's coming in there.
What are you getting? What's the crack?
Can I do it? Sinead, well, love, very much. She gently pushed me along with a few, not pushed me, but encouraged me. Can I do a light language because it's coming through?
Yes, of course.
Kia mona mai second moyeta. Hey na moro ko soro mona eka to soko e darina mono ko yete. How mono ko to sora lai ko mono to soko pitori ko mono moyeta sasa. Hamono yo ko to sika. Hakomono ika tarala na mono ko suki na na to sika kika moyeta. Ha mono ko soya lena nama. Iko mono ko to suki tarala na mono ko yata kasa. Hoyana mono to ko seke. Harala na mono ye. Katara komono kotiko sono koshika mano. Hoyana kata sakumana ikoto suko komona na yokoto. Hamono kotosika hayo mono korolo na mata sakatita wanana. Halana mana kosoko yeta. Homono kotosoko yetana. Horomona katisa.
Yeah, thank you. And so it is.
Beautiful. Connecting with you. Can I just say, you've really softened.
Who has?
You've always been great. Don't get me wrong.
No. I know I have.
There's a real, and I don't want to say, a result of you being with Morgan but there's just a real softness.
I know. I can accept this. and yes, that's a big part of it. She's been a big part of it, obviously. But I've talked about this the last 10 days or so. It's, I don't know. I was saying it yesterday. I don't know. You know what?
Beautiful.
At this point, I don't know. There's almost like an understanding's coming into the fold, and I know it's not just me. But you get it, and then you say, wait a minute, now I see this and this and this and this and this and this and all these things, and I just want to take my arm and just wipe everything off the erase board and say, okay, I got it. And what does that mean? That means like presence like I've never felt before. That means like I said earlier, who are you with right now? What are you doing with your day right now? And the best way for me, I'm speaking about me, for me to understand where my fucking head's at is to say, what are you thinking? Yeah. What are you thinking? And I'm like everybody else. I have these loops come around. What is he doing? Why is she doing that? And I'm catching them. It's like fishing. You throw your fishing pole in, your bait in, and then you say, "Oh, wait, I don't want to do that," and you pull it back out. You fix it, and you set it back in there, and that's what I'm finding. I'm finding that, you know what? Enough of this rhetoric, and this is crazy because I spend my day talking on the show, but enough of this rhetoric. Let's appreciate what we have, way beyond the cliche. Like, this is magic to me. This is magic right here. And I really feel that there is a unseen hand of providence, that one thing that's bigger than us all, that is assisting us because of our intentions and our heart to amplify and expand, like this show with you. Okay. And maybe there's a merging of the physical and the non-physical, or let's say the mainstream or the well-known, like say David Icke. So you got a David Icke and a Shaz Hargreaves. And what happens? David Icke brings his energy over here. There's a bunch of people that follow him that don't know who Shaz is. And they say, oh, I'm going to go back 3 or 4 weeks and watch a couple of these shows. And they find Shaz, and guess what? Yes, it's important. Our history is important. The reptilians, the Anunnaki, the Sumerians, the Galactics, the Galactic Wars, the Angelics, the whole kit and caboodle. But what's going to appeal to these people? The people like Shaz that comes in and says, hey, you know what? I'm a soul, and I've been an addict. And I've had this, and I've had that, and I had to all this stuff, but I'm here. I'm bigger, stronger. I'm more powerful and more awake and aware and more aligned than I've ever been in my life. And I'm just like you, pal.
Yeah, and that's what I want people to know. You know, I lost my home. I lost my children. I fucked up big time. I was in, you know, mental institutions, breakdown, and, you know, on the streets. Yeah. Absolutely insane, you know, terrified with night terrors and fucking with a cheap bottle of booze. Yeah. So I'm down and out and I'm not ashamed of any of it. I am not ashamed of my past.
It's a badge of armor, man. It
I
is.
was self-harming from 4 years of age, and one of the biggest things for me, you know, when I've been approached about putting a mask on, now I wear a mask to you know, respect other people, or if I'm around someone who's vulnerable. But how far removed I am from my shame. When I was approached, I just showed my arms, showed me scars. I said, I'm mental fucking health. I'm exempt. I don't give a shit. I'm not mental health, but I'm so far removed from what people think. Not 100% of the time, but I'm certainly not ashamed of my past. I'm really not.
Yeah. No, I can tell. Well, you know what? I'm expanding and elevating as we're talking. Like I said, there's no coincidence. I start watching that Robert Sepper Anatomy of a Soul. You watched it. We get on. You start talking. I start getting downloads. My own self-awareness expands. My own self-respect, love, and honor expands.
Yeah.
And guess what? Guess what happens? It doesn't matter if it's me, if it's you, whoever, anybody here. When one person starts to do that, when somebody's actually legitimately expanding their self-love and all the things that parallel with it, other people, other souls see it, whether they're conscious or not, and they go. It's a contagious thing. It's like I want some of that. I want some of that, and it just starts. And this is what's happening. This is what's happening. Robert Sepper, Sepher.
I've been listening to him for a while, and I come across I'm just sort of presented with what I need to listen to at that time. And Pythagoras is another one I've been reading on, you know, around our unique individual frequency signature. So we get what we need for our own understanding of what we're experiencing, and that's the best way I can put it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Did you say Pythagoras? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I years ago I read into that's very interesting stuff. There's so much out there.
Yeah, you've got it's too much. I just get what I need. It comes my way.
No, I get you. But what I was going to say is I think in this time now, where we're at now today in this moment, and that thing's been going on a while. But if we have the desire, which is I think always worked this way, but if we have the desire to expand, to grow, whatever you want to call it, grow up, then, and we start to seek, it'll come to us. Whatever we need to see will come to us. Whatever we need. It's like surfing the etherical internet.
It really is. That's
it really
way
is.
of putting it. Yeah.
Right on. Right on. You're beautiful, beloved sister. You are brave. You are. I hope. I know that we will all come into the highest potential of our self-respect, honor, love, and reverence by virtue of like what you did today. And it gets people, it gets people, because I've watched it for 9 years, it gets people up and they go, well, I'm going to do this too.
Woohoo.
You know what I mean? And also, again, thank you for coming into the Soulogy group and handling that. It's really interesting thing to actually observe this for 9 years.
Well, if anything, it helped me work on certain triggers.
It will. Well, no, that's part of it. I watch it every. We've had like 6 waves of admins after I, kind of gave it up after 3 or 4 years. I still go in and watch it. I still try to post at least 20 a day in there, 20, 30 a day. And I watch the energy of it. And I'll go in like once a month and I'll look at all the analytics. And I notice things. One of the things I've noticed is that the number of men is increasing. It's at about 32% last time I looked, 33%. It used to be like 19.
Which is amazing.
And also the level of engagement, most groups, their level of engagement's maybe 5 to 7%. Ours is well over 50% most of the time. So it's it's a part of Soulogy, always will be. It's the first
I love doing it. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just sort of went with it, and just as a way of giving back. Basically, I didn't have a clue what I was. But
do any of us really have a clue?
No, that's it. Rebel without a clue.
Isn't that a perfect microcosm? And I just want to. I see Billie Jean's in here, and I want to say hello to her. I tried to get her to come on the show the other day. She said she will at some point, but she's been around a few months, and every time I look, she's like the #1 poster.
Big contributor,
yeah. She posts a lot of really powerful stuff. So I want to say thank you to her. All right, we're going to be back in 45 minutes with Zahara Celestial. That ought to be interesting. We always have a good time. She's
cool.
She's a elemental something, angelic elemental something. I don't know, but I love her to death. Okay. I love you. Thank you very much. Peace out, everybody.
Out, everyone. Bye. Bye. Stay cool.